Welcome back to another episode of Young, Not Dumb, Not Broke with your host, Stephen Corner, the mortgage man from Glass Financial, and
Joshua Mason, Choir Dining and CL Wines.
beautiful. Today, Joshy and I are just going to be chatting to each other. We're going to delve into my story a bit later, but we're going to start with some recent events in the media. Sorry, I've been interrupted by a phone call. Some recent events in the media. Now, what were you reading just before, Josh?
Well, mate, as I was arriving, it actually said that Uganda is actually, it's actually like almost a crime to be gay or to show any of those traits at the moment in the LGBTQ community.
Really?
Yeah, I just read a story that I think they can even go to prison or face death penalties.
Yeah, wow. Is Uganda a religious country? What's their national religion?
I don't
Are they
know
Muslim?
too much about the country, but I'm reading the story now, and it says here, Uganda passes a law making it a crime to identify as an LGBTQ plus person.
Mainly Christian.
So
Uganda. 85% Christian.
So when part of the world right now is trying to promote equality
Yeah.
and peace and all the rest of it, there are still communities out there who are not.
Yeah. It's a difficult thing because Uganda is obviously a poorer country compared to the Western world, right? I would probably say they're potentially a third world country. I don't know.
They
But-
definitely are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in those circumstances, the most important thing for people are prosperity. They're actually not equality between people. Because if you're poor and you have barely anything to live for, what do you need to survive? More money. Why would you care about something like that when someone is fighting for their life? They don't. So that's where the shift in views will come, because they live in two very different worlds. Now in Australia, we live in prosperity. Everyone should be equal. People shouldn't be discriminated because of that, right? They shouldn't be discriminated for that anywhere. But when you come from a mindset of a country that is a lower socioeconomic area, that's when beliefs like this can exist, because it's just not a priority. What would you rather, equality for LGBTQ or to be able to put food on the table tonight? If you have no food, you're not going to be promoting down the street for that. That's where it comes from.
Yeah, there's also an element of control there as well.
Correct.
Element of control in that, it obviously seems like their government system, however it may work over there, wants to create fear, and they want them to conform with what they think should be the right way to live life. At the end of the day, there is no right or wrong way to live your life. It is a subjective opinion on what your wants and beliefs or what your purpose is.
Correct.
And I don't believe anyone in this world should tell you otherwise. I think maybe, it's good to get advice from people. It's good for people to tell you when you are doing something wrong or to help you out. But there's really no one on this planet who can step back and go, you can't identify as an LGBTQ plus person.
I 100% agree with you. But
I've got a lot of friends who are in that community. We've got a lot of customers who are in that community, and
so do I,
mate. They're just a part of just
100%.
us life. This is it. This
Totally
is normal.
agree with you, and not disagreeing at all. But I believe Uganda's political situation is not that great either.
No.
The face of control that you just mentioned is something that happens quite a lot. Can you look up the population of Uganda, mate? Brendo? I believe it's like 55 million from memory.
Oh, look, that looks scary.
Yeah, so I believe it's 55 million. And an article I read a few years ago, how much? 45 point. Yeah, so close, right? And an article I read a few years ago actually said that a third of people in Uganda didn't have enough food to survive. Like the standard that you need for food to survive, 1/3 of them didn't have enough food because the government was preferring certain areas that they had more control over to provide them food. And the other people outside of those areas weren't actually getting the resources they needed. But there was enough food there. They were just holding back resources from some people and giving more resources to other people. So with that in mind, there is potentially systemic political issues. But
Yeah, that's a scary image right there, mate.
100%.
That's next level.
Look,
But it just goes to show that there's places on this planet that are still advocating for stuff like this.
well, there's a lot of... How much? Yeah, experience what? Yeah, 10.9 million people. So a quarter. There we go. A quarter of the country don't have enough food to live. So that's like all of New South Wales.
Pretty
Plus
much,
some.
yeah.
Plus some. Probably like past South Australia or something.
Yeah.
So that's insane, right? Imagine everyone in New South Wales not having enough food to
Imagine
eat.
everyone in Sydney right now not having enough food.
Look, and there's a lot of systemic issues that have occurred through, what would we call it? Colonization of these countries. For example, when, this is getting pretty full on, but when
It's getting deep. I love
the
deep.
UK obviously colonized Africa, and that's obviously why so many people there are Christian, which is evidenced in the numbers of 85%. They've colonized Africa, they've come into there, they've taken resources, they've obviously started the slave trade, but outside of that, they actually didn't put resources into this country. They kind of did what America did in the Iraq War. They walked into Iraq, provided resources, blew up Iran, and then they left for these countries to defend themselves, which is like what the UK did to Africa. And that's why there's a lot of systemical, political, and economic issues. Now, if we look at what China's doing to Africa, China's actually going to Africa and pumping in a lot of information there.
Yeah.
Am I boring? Josh is just on his phone because it must be so boring.
No. Keep going, mate. We're always jumping in and out of
You're
our phone,
on camera
mate.
too, bro. Yeah.
When have we not been on our phones? We're business people. We've got things happening.
Presents, mate. Presents. Anyways, what I was saying, yeah, China's putting a lot of money into Africa, and yeah, it's a positive thing. It is. People look at it as a negative, as a scary thing, but it is a positive thing, supporting the country. From my understanding.
There's actually a lot of manufacturing going to Africa now. Heaps.
Yeah, really.
So they're actually, because they've got the land.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So, they've got the land to be able to do it. They're putting a lot of factories there. Cars are starting to get built in Africa.
Yep.
So on some point of view, like, they're creating jobs and whatnot. Hopefully they're doing it in some right way with, with them getting paid the correct amount and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, those type of things, which is power and control and manipulation, and not giving people a say, and basically dictating who they can or can't be, is not cool.
No,
And,
I 100% agree. But
we are extremely lucky.
It's a very Western world thing to say, though, to expect someone to act like us, just
totally.
because we come from some privilege. It's very Western, and I do agree with you 100%. But their situation's completely different.
Well, it's coming off the Dr. Jenny podcast.
Correct.
Like
exactly.
We were in that last week, and if anyone who hasn't watched that, like, I do recommend to actually tune into that podcast, because you do see a woman who's experienced this type of behavior, probably a little bit more on an extreme level when it comes to death and violence and stuff like that. But mate, it really gives us more perspective in this country, knowing that we are safe and we can sleep at night in a pillow.
100%.
And that I think we still have this stigma in society that we take things for granted a lot.
Yeah, well, and that flows into a topic like climate change.
Should we pull up a Dan Pena sort of?
No, we should not do.
I love that guy.
$10 billion man. Is that what he calls himself?
He talks about climate change.
Look, climate change
Oh god,
is proven to be real. Okay, the science saying it's real. Can't defute that, right? The issue with climate change is the Western world, for example. I believe Australia produces 0.2% of the CO2 in the atmosphere. The UK produces 2%. Now, if you have two countries turn off all their lights today, all coal fossil fuels, or electricity, that's not going to stop the effects of climate change. Climate change is controlled by pretty much Asian countries, right? Because they are second and third world countries. So back to the argument before. If you're trying to grow prosperity in your country and you want your people to have a good life, right? Do you care about climate change? No. You care about getting more money in your pocket so you can feed your people.
Yeah.
I think there's like 100 million people in China who, once again, don't have enough food to eat, right? What's the president's name? Jinglong? Yeah. Anyways, the leader of the Communist Party. Why would he care about climate change when all of his people aren't prosperous? He doesn't, right? So we look at the big producers of this. This is India. You've got China. There's a couple of other Asian countries who are big producers. South America, a lot of, once again,
Taiwan.
very low in economic status. So what do they care? They don't. So people get confused about the small things that we do. Yes, they will have an effect long term, but it's minute. The goal shouldn't be for climate change. The goal should be equality throughout the world. If you create equality throughout the world, that's when you stop climate change.
Yeah.
Because people can then look at other sources of energy, which we should be doing. We should be inventing renewable sources of energy that are cheap, though. That's the issue.
Yeah.
So if the Western world wants to help, it's not by using paper straws instead of plastic straws, right? It's not about turning off your lights for an hour. It's not about getting an electric car. It's about how do we find an efficient source of cheap, non-fossil fuel energy. That's how you help it. So everyone gets caught on this idea, and then you got your Greta Thunbergs of the world and whatnot. Great for awareness, doesn't help. Greta Thunberg, isn't it?
Thunderberg. Thunderberg's our go.
But
Get that in you, Greta.
That's a realness of it, honestly.
God.
Like
What's this one up here?
Yeah.
Here we go.
What's the percentage? And 31% of the global
60%.
Yeah. 31% of the global total in the Asia Pacific. And if you look at South America and I'm assuming Africa, there would be a lot more. That's huge. They're huge numbers. That's a third. So what's Australia at 0.2%, I believe it is, or something small like that? We can't change anything unless we invent something.
Oh, but we throw a shit ton of money at it.
Do we?
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of it's political games. Like if you look at politicians and what they do and what they promote, they generally do it to benefit themselves to get into power. For example, we have an upcoming election for the state government, and no one talks for 4 years, and then 3 weeks before the election, everyone talks a lot. And guess what will happen next week? No one will talk again.
Yep.
And 3.5 years later, they'll talk a lot. Why can't these people be present in the community constantly? Why is it just they create certain moves in order to trick the average voter to vote for them because they've been in their face for the past 3 weeks? I understand consistency is key. What is it? 1.6, 1%.
That was in 2016. So
Anyways, but it's about that, right? So, politicians will make promises like this, and they'll throw some money and say they're doing something, but it's not real change. Real change is having a group of people, scientists, innovators, come together and actually invent.
Yep.
How much money did we spend on the spicy cough vaccine around the world?
Oh, fuck.
Imagine if all that money was put into, and every great scientist in the world was put together to not cure a virus, which they did, to change his energy crisis. Imagine what would occur. The greatest inventions come from tough times, come from war. Every war that has occurred, the best inventions come from that because you have to do it. But it's not urgent right now, so no one wants to do anything. And they go, no, just don't use plastic straws because that's going to fix it. It doesn't work like that. I know everyone wants to feel good.
Pay you 15 cents
like
for your Coles bag.
15 cents for a Coles bag, right?
Yeah.
I still buy the same amount of Coles bags because I have to carry my shopping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but it's about creating massive change, and that's what the world misses, and that's what it's missing. Rather than a community of smart people trying to come together for the better, it's a lot profit driven, and that's why the vaccine was so effective. Profit driven. It wasn't
Totally.
people. Pfizer and Moderna weren't there trying to help people. They were there. They made what was some stat? They make billions and billions and billions of dollars off the
Chillions.
COVID vaccine. Cost Australia $3.24 billion in the spicy cost vaccine. $50 billion to vaccinate the world. Imagine the profit margins on that. And the government's paid for these vaccines, and Pfizer and Moderna and other countries could have, would have made profit, which it's publicly known they did.
And there's always some person sitting at the top.
Correct. So that's how you solve.
And we never hear of that person.
Correct, and that's how you solve climate change, right? That's the real way to do it. A global community of the smartest people with resources to do so, not by swapping your paper cup for a keep cup. When I was at school, do you remember being at school and the worst thing in the world was paper? Do you remember that, Brendo? Paper. It was like, there was all these ads on TV about logging, and they're like, this is what's happening to all the rainforests. Like, using paper is bad. So then we switched to a digital world. So we don't print things anymore. We're not using newspapers. And now, apparently paper's a solution again. How does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. It's whatever allows people to feel comfortable at this time. People will shift your mind to do that.
Yeah, totally. And even think about the word climate change. Okay, think about the word what change means.
Yeah. 25% profit on the Pfizer vaccine. So what's that?
I think that's a healthy
15
profit.
billion.
Isn't that a healthy profit?
Nah,
Beautiful.
crazy. We're not talking about conspiracies or anything. We're just talking about numbers.
Yeah.
Like, these things happen, they were dealt with. This is how we move forward.
But think about the word change, climate change.
Yeah.
Mate, change occurs every day in everyone's lives.
Yeah.
Mate, we just got off a change in cycle. We're just going through La Nina, which was a wet cycle in this country.
Yeah.
Mate, the place was fucking wet. For how long?
Yeah.
Wet as fuck. We ended drought. We had a change in our ecosystem. And guess what? We've got another one coming. It's going to go back to a dry system. So we are going to experience general change in our environment, regardless whether it's this or that.
Yeah.
This particular stuff may expedite that faster. I don't know. But there's always going to be a change in our cycle.
Yeah, I think that.
Oh my God, the weather's changed today. It was fucking raining.
Yeah, well, the data points to the excess of CO2 is affecting the Earth.
100%.
So I'd have to look at the scientific research because I can't dispute that because that's what everything I've seen. It is happening. It is happening.
But remember, this Earth wasn't made for this many people, and there's research out to say that we're this many billions too much.
Well, the question is, why was this Earth made?
Dun, dun, dun.
Why are we here? There's a 1 in, I think I was watching something the other day. 1 in 400 trillion chance that an Earth in the universe is called the Drake. It's called the Drake equation. Look up the Drake equation. So there's a 1 in 400
trillion. Got some time at home.
I enjoy physics and stuff. I really enjoy it. In the Drake equation, it says like 1 in 400 trillion chance that an Earth is able to be created to allow things to live on it. On a planet is able to be created to allow things to live on it. And then there's a 10 times less chance that you're a human who's born on this planet in the whole universe. So that's how lucky we are, right? That's exactly how lucky we are. Here we go, the Drake equation. So it is a probabilistic argument used to estimate the number of active commutative extraterrestrial civilians in the Milky Way galaxy. The numbers aren't there, and it's a complex equation, but all in all, that's what it is.
Love a bit of Wikipedia.
Yeah, it was awesome. Scroll down a bit.
Always right. Maybe whack it onto Urban Dictionary.
Scroll down a bit more.
Get the real story.
Scroll down a bit more. No, I can't see anything on that.
It's Wikipedia. They always make everything confusing.
Yeah, correct. Well, that's the equation. It's proven. It's widely believed by scientists, and what's the chance? Is it a simulation? Have you heard the simulation theory?
Have you heard Simulation Song?
No.
It's a good song. Put it on.
The simulation theory states that if there was a couple of different ones, but one of them is if we ever become intelligent enough to create a simulation of a society where it operates and runs on its own, that therefore means that we could be in a simulation right now. So if you think about it, if we can create this in a simulation, then that therefore means that we could have been created in a simulation.
Yes.
Cheat codes, GTA.
Where do I get a flying car?
It's pretty. Would it?
And then all of a sudden, the Matrix effect starts happening.
And I think people look for purpose, and that's why these things come about. Because what is the purpose of life? Who knows? And for this just to exist on a probabilistic chance, without religion, without higher power, without simulations, it's hard for people to believe that. But Drake equation provides the probability of that occurring. Everything's numbers, baby.
Why are we here, Stephen? Why are we here?
I'm not sure. To live every day
We're here to chat shit
in the present.
on a beautiful podcast with beautiful people.
That's enough of that for you.
That's why we're here. So a couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to, dive into a little bit of my story and, I think discuss all the challenges that I've had and the successes and I think you guys really benefited in here of learning a little bit more about me. So I thought I'd flip that over today and flip it onto Stephen. Put him in the hot seat. Sizzling hot seat.
I'm ready.
And I guess learn a little bit more about your journey and where it started, where it is right now, and I think where you want it to go. So where did it start for you, Stephen?
Where did
From
it
a snotty little
start?
child to now.
Yeah. Look, I finished school. I got really good marks at school. I was always told to study hard. My dad owns a scaffolding company. So in my school holidays, every school holidays, I would have to go and work in his factory and use a grinder to clean things, mainly nuts and bolts. So every single day on my school holiday from the time I was 15, I would go and do that.
You'd be grinding.
Literally grinding. That's funny. I didn't think about it like that. Always told to study hard because, my dad didn't want me to go into a profession where I had to, use my body for my whole life. So I studied hard. He's not that way. He's my body. That was two then.
He's grinding, but his dad didn't want him to use his body anymore.
Yes, it is funny. It sounds funny. And I hated him for that, honestly, because I was like, I just want to be a kid and have fun. But it did assist. So I got great marks in high school through a lot of study. I used to come home every single day and study for 4 hours, every single day. And
4 hours a day.
After school, every single day, year 11, 12, I would study at least 4 hours a day.
Fuck, I feel like a dud compared to you now.
At least. And I got a 96 ATAR. At high
96?
school. Yeah, correct. I could have gotten to be a doctor if I did a back route, but to be a doctor to get straight in here, 99.95. But there's always back routes to be doctors. Like you do
ducks, mate.
You do School of Medicine. I didn't get ducks. Someone beat me by 0.35%.
Fuck off.
Yes.
So you came second.
I came second technically.
Yeah.
Well, no, we shouldn't get them on the podcast.
Should we replace you with him?
But I was always wanted to run my own business. I did for a while and then I didn't. So then I went to uni, studied 2 degrees in finance and economics. While I was at uni, I would do a full-time degree, right? But I'd only do it in one day. So every Thursday or Friday, depending on the semester, I'd go into university at 8 o'clock and I'd finish about 8 or 9. So I'd fit every lecture and every tutorial in one day. And the other 4 days, at the start, I was scaffolding. So I actually went out and put scaffold up when I was like 19, 20. And then when I was just before I turned 21, it was a year before I turned 21, I got a job in a financial planning firm in the city. And I thought it was the most amazing thing ever. I walked into this interview. I couldn't tie a tie. I was in the bathroom at the train station trying to tie a tie. I tried it the whole train ride there to put on a tie. Couldn't do it. Googled it, went into the bathroom, figured out how to do my tie. And then I walked to Australia.
It still looked pretty fucked, eh?
Yep. And then I walked up to Australia Square. And I got to I can't remember what level one, 22. And there was this round office, because it's Australia Square, it's a round building. And walked straight in, views of the harbour. I'm like, holy hell. This boy from Western Sydney is here with views of the harbour in this expensive office. I didn't know where I was. I had this interview with people I still talk to today, actually. And this is all they said to me, pretty much. The only question they asked me was, they said, you're going to do all the shit jobs here. You're probably not going to like it, but that's what you're going to do. And I said, yes, please. Because beforehand, I'd been scaffolding and grinding bolts. And I wanted to move into this industry. So I thought, you know what? This will be awesome. They didn't pay me for the first couple of months either, mind you. So while I was there at the start, so they gave me the job, right? While I was there working 3 days a week, I had to go scaffold on Thursdays and Saturdays to make money, because I wasn't getting paid for a month or two. And then I have to also do my full-time uni. And first day I walked in, my job was this. They didn't have a receptionist. So every time I heard the doorbell ring, I had to get out of my chair. I had to walk to the front door. I'd have to greet the clients coming in. And then I would have to ask them what type of coffee they wanted. So then I have to go and make their coffee, come back, smile, greet them, get the person who was going to see them, go back to doing my scanning. I actually got the nickname from one of my still good friends who was the partner of the law firm, Scanno.
Scanno.
My nickname was Scanno, and that stuck. He still calls me Scanno to this day.
I was thinking about calling him Grindo.
Grindo. So that's where it all started. And I was in this financial planning firm. It was accounting and law and property and whatnot. My job was just to admin and open doors for people. And then they saw I was motivated, so they brought me on, actually started paying me. And then I started working there 3 days a week still, while I was still obviously doing the scaffolding to make some extra money while at uni. And slowly over time, they gave me more and more things to do. And slowly over time, I started learning more. Now, there was one day I was looking at this guy, and I had briefly met him before, didn't really know him, but he had the big CEO office. So he was a CEO. And I was G'ing myself up. I'm like, I want to go in and talk to him. I'm going to get him to like me. And every time I spoke to him, I was just so nervous. I looked like an idiot. But one day, 6 months in, 21 years old, I walked into his office. Walked straight into him and said, can we talk? He goes, well, you're already in here, so you may as well. And I said to him, I go, mate, I want to be a financial advisor. If I bring my own clients, can I be an advisor? And I was expecting him to say no, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, yeah, okay. I'm like, okay. And then I walked out. Yeah. So he became my
very detailed meeting, that one.
That's how it would happen, honestly. Yeah. And he became my mentor. He became a mentor for me. He spent a lot of time with me, teaching me about finance, teaching me about running a business, teaching me about sales. And that's where it really blossomed. So then I moved into helping financial advisors, give advice in terms of taking their notes, writing, all the compliance stuff for them, the statements of advice. And then I kept pushing, kept wanting to do more. And then eventually they licensed me as a financial advisor. I think I was on the ASIC register when I was like 21, 22. So I was probably like one of the youngest licensed financial advisors in Australia. But I wasn't giving advice then, I was giving general advice. But I was like 21, 22. And I was amazing. I was so happy. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, look at me go. And every single day I was traveling 3 hours return to get to this job as well. But I didn't care because I loved it. So I kept pushing, kept learning, did a diploma of financial planning, tax advice, super funds. Eventually finished my 2 degrees after 4 years. And then I became an advisor there. Got clients, started it. And I thought this was my life. Then I realized that it wasn't my life. Because one, I was getting paid money that wasn't very good. I'm not going to say what the figure was, but it wasn't great money for someone in that office, in that profession. And two, I started imagining what my life was going to be like in 10 years. I thought, if I stay here right now, I'm going to look like the person next to me. And I thought, there's nothing wrong with that. But I thought, this isn't my life. Like, I need to start my own company. I have to do something. And I didn't do anything for months. I just kept doing like, I'll come out of it. I'll come out of it. It got to the point where I was so unhappy with my life that I just had to quit on the spot. I was like, I can't do this, because I just knew that there was more for me out there in the world. And this wasn't my final destination. It was my first stop. I've learned a lot. Still friends with every single person I've worked with there. Still talk to them. But I had to leave. I just didn't mesh right with me. The universe was telling me, there's more, Stephen. I didn't know what to do, though. I had no plans. I knew I wanted to run my own business somehow. I didn't want to do it in financial advice because I started hating it. And why I hated it was because of this. We used to help wealthy people have advice to make more wealth.
Yep.
But the fees we charged, like for example, anywhere between $6,000 to $12,000 up front for 4 meetings, isn't the price point to help the average person. I grew up in Western Sydney. The average person in Western Sydney cannot afford 6 to 12 grand for financial advice. Right? They struggle enough paying their mortgages. Some people are better off than others, but it didn't mesh well with me either. And we're charging them that. I'm getting paid none of that, right? So I'm not helping people. I'm not helping myself. So I was just like, I have to do something that can help more people who look like me, more people who grew up like I did, like my parents. Both my parents grew up in housing commission. They worked hard their whole life. They struggled. They fought. They created a very good life for themselves. And I've had this opportunity that they've given me to help more people, to do more, because that's all they ever worked for. So I thought, I'm not living up to my potential. So I quit. I'm like, don't know what I want to do though. I didn't have a job at all. And then I said to my wife, do you like your job? She's like, not really. I said, look, we've got some savings. Do you want to just both quit our jobs and we'll just go to Europe for an undetermined amount of time and then we'll just work it out? And she's like, yeah, okay. So then the next...
Wow, that was easy.
Yeah. So
Such a negotiation, that one.
And
All of his meetings are like
yeah, they are.
Mate, you should hear the other ones. There's even less words. The other ones are just nods.
Yeah.
Yep.
So literally like 2 days later, we booked flights to London.
Yeah.
I found an Airbnb for a month in London. And we got on the plane a week later, flew to London. And then we were in London in this apartment. And the Airbnb came with a cat. So we had this cat.
Complimentary.
His name was Dusty.
Complimentary pussy.
He was a sick cat. Yeah, he was a
Wow.
good cat. Yeah, he was a good cat, man. And so we're there, right? And I still had a lot of head noise and not knowing to know what I wanted to do.
The cat didn't help.
The cat was cool. I've never had a cat before, so it was a nice
I
change.
don't really like cats.
But new country, started in an English-speaking country, so the adjustment wasn't as hard. And literally for a month, all we did was what we wanted. We just traveled around London, did all the touristy things on a budget, of course, because money wasn't unlimited. I had a certain amount of money to last me 5 months, which I budgeted for when I was over there, which worked out well because I knew I wanted to start my company. So I knew I had to come back with at least 5 or 10 grand. I should have came back with more, to tell you the truth, but I came back with 5 or 10 grand. Traveled around and then still didn't know what I wanted to do. At one point, funny story, because I was so lost and forgot about my love and passion for finance and helping people, my wife and I were going to be YouTubers. So for the month in London, we recorded hours upon hours of YouTube videos, which I also edited, that I securely stored away in a hard drive never to be seen.
We need to hack his account.
Yeah.
We need to find this shit.
Yep.
It would be fucking
because
Cringeworthy.
I was like, it was an escape for me.
Can you
Something,
give me an example though, like of what you did with these videos?
the typical.
Started in
this
the
was before.
room,
No,
ended
this
up
is
in-
where before it became really big. So, those videos like Australian couple trying UK food and things like that.
Yeah.
Now they're popular videos. Like I could have been a famous YouTuber if we stuck to it. No, yeah, I'm not releasing it now.
Let's release them.
My life is different now. But yeah, so we were just trying different things, and I thought maybe I was going to do online sales or things like that, but I really didn't know. And then I was traveling around London. We left London, went to Scotland, among many places over the 5 months we ended up doing traveling. And I was in Scotland, and I was like, got a sense of quiet and a peace, because Scotland's a beautiful country, and we're driving around Scotland, and then I saw this double rainbow one day. We pulled up to camp, and that moment changed my life forever. All the head noise disappeared, and in my head, then I was like, I need to work in. It hit me all at once. I'm like, I need to work in finance. I love finance. I'm going to go into mortgage broking because we don't charge a fee to anyone. The banks pay us, and actually help the average person. Whereas before, I could only help people with money, and that's when the ID started. So literally, like a month or two later, started planning the business in my head, what I was going to do. Started my diploma of mortgage broking while I was over in Europe. So we'd go out during the day and at nights I'd just do my diploma. And then, months later down the track, getting closer to coming back, started talking to mortgage broking firms before I got back here. Had interviews while I was in Italy. And then got back, met them. Nothing really gelled. I literally flew back in on the Tuesday. On Wednesday, I was meeting mortgage broking companies. I was like, I don't know where to start. But I'm going to do this. And then a couple of weeks later, I was introduced to my business partner now at Glass Financial, Ben Flood. Relationship worked well. Started next month. And that was it. So I started on my own. The funny thing was, and you'd remember this time, Josh, I started pretty much my business late Jan, early Feb of 2020, which was 1 month before COVID happened. So as I'm starting my business, had all the dreams and hopes in the world, then this random virus occurred where people weren't leaving the house in these supermarkets, the stock market was dipping, the property prices were going to fall off the face of the earth apparently, and I'm in a mortgage broking company that can only make money by giving mortgages. And I haven't earned income for 9 months at this stage, right? And Annabelle was working 6-7 days a week so we can afford to live. And I'm still not earning money. And I didn't earn money for another 3 or 4 months. And a global pandemic has occurred. So I was like, fuck.
I know how that feels.
Yeah, well, it was very scary for me at the time. If I was to go back into it right now, I probably wouldn't. I was very naive when I started in terms of I just believed in the world. I believed that I could push through anything. I wasn't scared, which has allowed me to grow to the point that I have. If it wasn't for that belief in myself and taking that trip to Europe, I wouldn't have done this. And mortgage broking, financial advice, and tax advice carry over very well. So I've got 2 bachelor's degrees in finance. I was a financial advisor, tax advisor, all this stuff. So with mortgage broking, it complements extremely well. And I just knew that the level of people out there were nothing compared to me. And I knew that I had to do this because I was going to help a lot of people make their lives better, which I have. So it wasn't just for me. I needed to help society to better understand their finances so they can have a more comfortable life by doing simple things. So I powered through it. It turns out COVID was good for the property market and for home loans because the property market skyrocketed. And there was challenges and a lot of stuff that went on the way. Then 6 months later, I hired my first staff called Robbie, who's still with me today. And then from there, we just grew and grew and grew. I think 3 months later after that, I hired my second staff. So within 9 months of starting my business, I had 2 employees full time, which was scary for me because I was like, well, I've just started earning money. Now I've got to pay people. But it's the only way I could see forward. So then my first 9 months of business, we were nominated for an award for New South Wales Broker of the New South Wales New Broker of the Year. So you had to be a broker for less than 2 years. And this was on my 9 months figures. And I thought I had no chance of winning that. Then I won. So we're best new broker in New South Wales of me operating in 9 months, not even 2 years. So then we're up for the national award, which we didn't win. Next year of business was absolutely crazy. I worked at least 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, constantly. I was also learning how to be a boss. I was also growing my business, marketing, a whole range of things no one ever teaches you. Taxes.
Love taxes.
Yeah, well, when you're running a business, people forget about all these things.
Super.
Yeah.
Taxes.
All this type of stuff, right? So I'm learning all that and I'm growing the business exponentially. Like we probably grew my first 9 months compared to my second 12 months, I grew just over 400% in revenue because I just wanted to help people. We were hustling, we were working hard to achieve that, and nothing could stop me.
Yeah, but how did you achieve that? It doesn't happen to anyone. There's a reason why you were 400% up.
Yeah, well, the reason was that my whole life was mortgage breaking. That's all I cared about. That's all I slept about. It was all I dreamt about. That was the only thing that mattered. Every single moment of my day was, how do I grow this business? How do I get more customers?
So how did you grow it?
I literally get a client, do a really good job for them, ask for referrals, meet business partners, financial planners, accountants, property people, lawyers, referrals from other people, friends and family. That's literally how it grew. It was organic. I didn't do any advertising in my first year and a half.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't until my third year I started advertising because our growth was so rapid. I needed to be able to sustain it for the long term. Now, that's when we started. So the second year, 400% increase. I was so happy. We hit our target we wanted to do. No one believed that I could. They said, it's impossible. It's a good figure, but you can't do it. I said, no, I can do it. Didn't know how I was going to do it. I was just like, I believe I can do it. I'm going to make this work. And then I made it work. And then the next year after that, the market started cooling, which was fine because then I started with Brendo. We started doing a lot of social media advertising, buses, everything, right? Yeah, well,
it was all over buses.
I started marketing the way other mortgage brokers weren't marketing because I saw a gap in the market. I thought these people generally become very comfortable with their lifestyle. And if I want to get into this market and make an impact on people and grow quickly, I have to do what everyone else is not willing to do, and that's spend money on marketing to get in front of more people, which we've done well. Now, as of last week, people have started copying my marketing. And I know they've copied me because their mortgage broking office is in the same area as mine, and they've copied my videos word for word.
I saw that the other day.
Yeah, don't mention names.
It honestly looked like, I couldn't even remember the name, but it looked like you and him could have been standing next to each other.
If we were
saying the same thing.
If we were side by side, we would be saying the same thing.
Do you reckon that person took it from you?
The language
100%.
I use in that, I've never seen another mortgage broker use that language before. So
was it an Australian mortgage broker, that one? I don't remember.
Yeah, he was like he competes in the same area as me.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
and all my
The other thing as well is I'm the one that does all the filming for Steven's stuff, and I know for a fact he doesn't write any scripting. He does everything off the cuff. Everything is off the top of the head. He just knows his shit.
Correct.
So for someone else to say the exact same words that Steven has said, it has to be copying because otherwise how could they do it when Steven creates it on the spot?
Correct.
I don't send him a cheeky message.
Nah, but, look, it's flattery for me. It's really good because it means that people are seeing my way. And
I would have said love your content.
I don't really care because it's positive. It means I'm influencing the industry. This is one of our web pages, but
the Mortgage Man.
Yeah, correct. So I am a part of Glass Financial Group. And also my social media name is The Mortgage Man. So that's for marketing purposes because it's catchy because we want to help people. Now the website needs updating because it hasn't been updated for a little while. But yeah, it was copied because like Brendan said, I don't script any of my videos. I speak the truth. I speak my truth. I speak the truth of the industry. And the words I've never seen used in a video like that before. So I know it was copied, but it's cool. It's flattery for me. It's a positive thing.
Trustworthy, honest, patient.
Yeah, so we have a lot of good reviews. We post on social media a lot. I've got a team of 4 now. So let's go back to the second year when we had a 400% increase. So at that time, I was like, wow, that's pretty incredible. Under 2 years, I've like done all this. So my staff and I were like, should I apply for the best under 35? And they're like, yeah, you should do it. I go, I don't think I have a chance of winning, man. I've been doing this for 2 years. Like I was 26 at the time when I applied. I was like, there's people who've been doing this for another 9 years compared to me who can win this award. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to apply. I'm going to apply for this award, speak my truth and whatnot. And then we won. At the Australian Broking Awards, we won the Rising Star Award, which is the best under 35 in Australia and also believed to be the future of the industry. Based on my second and a half year of business and everything that we had done in terms of marketing and whatnot, which was incredible because I thought that surely there's other people out there who's doing more than me, but that I just didn't know about. Apparently there's not. Right? Which that inspired me to want to do more and help more people, because if I can do this in 2.5 years, become the best new broker in New South Wales and the best under 35 in all of Australia in under 2.5, 3 years, imagine what we can do with 5 years. Imagine what we can do with 10 years. So those awards I applied for myself. A lot of mortgage broking companies will apply for awards so they can have a lot on their signature. Every award I applied for was myself, for self-validation that I was actually making a change in this industry. So I've got a commitment to my team, to myself, that I will not apply for any more awards until I am confident that we can win the best broker in New South Wales, the best broker in Australia. I could win these awards again, right? Because people aren't doing what I'm doing. It's impossible. But until I can become the best in New South Wales or Australia, that's when I will apply. Because otherwise, to me, it doesn't mean anything. It's not about the awards. It's about helping people. It's about having reach.
Well, usually when you get self-satisfaction, that's when you get the greatest success.
Correct.
So if you can reach that point first, the money will come second.
Correct.
But if you're chasing the dollar, usually everything else falls apart around it.
100%. And look, throughout the business, it's had its trials and tribulations. Like when you grow so quickly, customer service starts to drop.
Totally.
So what I had to constantly do is bring in staff, new staff. And then that person was a fit for a while and then they weren't. So I had to get rid of them. I had to bring someone else. And it takes a long time to find a team with a lot of knowledge and experience to be able to do what you need them to do so you can work on helping more people. And what I have right now is the perfect team. There's a team of 4 who, plus myself, who all have, half of them, 3 of them have, over 20 years experience in the mortgage broking industry. So they've been doing this for nearly as long as I've been alive. Because I thought, I've only been doing this for a few years. Yes, I know what I'm doing. However, how do I leverage off everyone else's expertise? By doing that, I've been able to create this process where customers get exactly what they need and what they want at every point in the process. If you need to call me and I'm in a meeting, you can call one of 4 people in the office and they can answer your question straight away. Your home loan settles. Most mortgage brokers disappear, not us. Staff follows up after a week, then after a month, and after 3 to 6 months. We keep touching base with our clients to see if there's anything we can do to help, because that is the purpose of this. Yes, it costs me more money to have more staff, but it's extremely important that I have a process that we can run on long term. I have a compliance manager in my office, which not many mortgage broking offices have, unless you have 10 or 20 mortgage brokers working for you. So every file, when it settles, my compliance manager goes through and audits everything to make sure that there's nothing that we can be pulled up on. Costs me more money. But when we want to grow long term, I've already got all this infrastructure in place. We can just scale now. It's just a constant scaling, which in business is extremely important, because not having scale means you don't have time. And when you don't have time, you can't focus on how you grow your business.
Oh, and resource too. Time and resource.
Yeah, well, sometimes you have to sacrifice some of your own personal resources to
get things going.
So that's the story so far. It's quite an accelerated story over the past, I guess I was over a 7-year period. It all happened very quickly.
Skipped through that one.
Sorry?
We skipped through that one.
Yeah, it's just, that's what it is though.
To the point.
They're the most important pieces that we need to know.
Any really fucked up parts of the last few years that you just looked at the ceiling and went, fuck?
Many.
while you were laying in bed going, fuck?
Many.
Okay. Was there one that you would remember?
There is. There's been a lot of those moments, to be honest with you. It's hard for me to remember them exactly because I look at everything as a positive, even though it hurts at the time. But, there's been positions where, banks haven't lived up to what they will say they were going to do, all in all, that they said they were going to do for the client. The clients have bought property, and now it can't be financed. So we have to find alternative ways to get this done. Other times, clients have come to me where the other broker told them they have finance, but they didn't. So then I had to find a solution for them very quickly, like within 1 week, lodged, approved, settled. Otherwise, these people are going to lose their livelihoods. So with mortgage broking, there's a lot of, at the start, dealing with the emotional responsibility was difficult. You learn throughout it over time. As you know more, you learn more. You know everything's going to be okay. There's always a solution for something. But the emotional stress that came with this job is something I wasn't expecting. Not everyone is not everyone is always happy, and not everyone is always sad. Most people will sway between the two. When you deal with things as stressful as home loans, there is a heightened level of emotions there, which is okay. It's really not an issue because that's part of life. And my job here is to facilitate people through this home buying journey. I don't look at myself as a mortgage broker at all, right? It's very different. Picking a bank for them is just part of the job, right? So saying, okay, this bank is the best for you because of the policies, because of the interest rate, because of the speed that we need to get this done. That's important. But I don't look at that as my fundamental role. My fundamental role is guiding people through this process of purchasing property or refinancing, being a sounding board for them, and ensuring that everything will be okay. Because the unknown is very scary for anyone. And if you don't do this every day, from the outside looking in, it can be very frightening. But it's important for me to be that person there for them to help them through every part of the journey. Not just say, oh, this is your home loan. Oh, it's not approved yet. Leave me alone. It doesn't work like that. I'm more of a, I guess, depending on the person, like a coach more than anything, helping them get through this process. And while my staff, they deal with everything. Like I give the advice and they deal with everything. They're switched on. They get it done. It's always going to get done. But the emotions throughout the process will spike, decrease, depending on the person. So that's an interesting part of my job. In terms of stories, nothing that just springs to mind, to be honest. But at the start, when you start a business, there's a lot of scary times about money and where I'm going to get clients from and is this actually going to work?
It's the anxiety of the unknown.
100%.
So, and that's, that's why people have anxiety because they don't know what's coming for them.
Correct. And that was a massive issue for me during the time. And I just kept working through it. But it builds up eventually, especially when you grow so quickly. Once again, you have to go back to what makes you happy. And my purpose, the purpose was to help people. So you always have to bring yourself back to that. And that's what I try to do every single day. Bring myself back to the purpose. Not about how many loans we submit, how many we get settled. It's about the purpose. And that's another reason why I've shifted my eyes away from awards, is to ensure that I'm serving my customers. Because if I serve my customers and my community, then these things will come to me. When I bought my first property, I was 21.
How fucked up's buying your first property, eh? It's a scary experience.
It was the scariest thing.
It's fucking...
It's one of the scariest things I ever did.
Shit happening. There's conveyances doing shit.
I had no idea what was going on.
PECs are uploading. This is done. You're sitting around going, did it settle? Did it settle? You've just put fucking all your money on the table.
Yeah.
You're hopefully going to come to a beautiful outcome in the next so-and-so minutes.
Yep.
And then you get a phone call or an email from the conveyancer going, congratulations, it's settled.
100%. And
it was hardcore.
It was so stressful for me for a number of reasons. One, my broker at the time, because I wasn't earning much money, but we had saved a lot to buy a property. My broker at the time was like, yeah, it'll be fine. Just put your deposit down. And I didn't even know what cooling off periods were. I didn't know what finance period was. I was 21, right? I never bought a property before. And it wasn't overly explained to me. So I kind of put down a deposit but my finance wasn't approved, and it wasn't going to get approved, but the universe provided me a new work contract the day before it was meant to be approved for a full time and pay rise and everything. So because I got that contract, the bank would actually lend me the money to buy this property. But then throughout the process, I had no idea what was going on. Like, I had to sign loan documents and some of them went missing. And then in Queensland, if you don't settle on the day you're meant to settle, you could actually lose your whole 10% deposit. The day before the settlement, the bank told me that all the loan documents were there and and they had to be mailed to Perth. So I'm freaking out, man, because no one's explained the process to me. I have no idea what's going on. I was yelling at people at the start when we're trying to get it approved, scared, stupid, and then I think I'm going to lose my deposit. The solution was found, because as I know now, a solution is always found when something occurs. But I didn't know that. No one told me that. It was messed up. So now with me, I carry that feeling with me every single time I help clients, because I understand. Before I was in the mortgage broking industry, this is like 5 years before I started to join the mortgage broking industry, I was in financial planning. I carried the fear of the unknown. I carried the fear of anxiety, of loss, of wanting to have something so bad that might be taken away. And that's what I take in to me with every single meeting, because I understand where they're coming from. It's not just a simple process. Like, for me, it's a simple process now. I do it every single day. But for them, it's something brand new. So I have to treat it like a brand new thing to them every single time. And they're going to have heaps. Some people are going to have a lot of questions, and some people apologize for it. I'm like, don't apologize for it. You should have seen me. If I was my own client, I probably wouldn't like me very much, to tell you the truth.
But time to get stuffed.
So that's the purpose of the business. In the future, we do plan to grow further. There are wheels in motions of things I can't really mention for us to grow further.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Damn it. I wanted some of that juicy chat.
Sorry? Yeah, I'll tell you off camera. But there are plans for growth in the near future that will occur. And we're still growing steadily, to be honest with you. It's a nice sustained position. And we're just helping more and more people every day. We're getting better every single day. The process is getting better every single day. And people are happy. Like, the amount of referrals we're getting right now is incredible compared to what a lot of the other market is getting.
Oh, mate, there's plenty of mortgage people out there.
Heaps.
So many brokers out there. Ridiculous. They're everywhere.
It's like 20,000 plus or something.
So it's like,
There's heaps of brokers out
how
there.
do you choose a good mortgage broker?
Correct. How do you choose a good
Based on what? Experience?
Yeah, and I don't want to
Good rapport?
I don't want to slag off other mortgage brokers on
Fucking
this
slag
at
the
all.
dogs.
No, I don't want to.
I've had a bad one.
You got a good one now, though.
Do I really, though?
Ah, here we go. Here we go.
We'll see what we can do with that.
I would say a good mortgage broker, you can tell when you speak to them. I have a strict process that everyone has to go through, because I'm here to help people. I'm not here to just for you to come to me to get a home loan, for you to get the best rate. I have a strict process of wanting to help you. If you want something done in a day, sometimes depending on the situation, we can help. But if you're someone who just decided yesterday you want to buy property, and then you haven't even looked at properties yet, but tomorrow you want a pre-approval, you're probably not the right person for me.
We bought a property in a day for a commercial one.
Yeah. Well, I can do it. It depends on...
We got it sorted quickly.
It depends on the demeanor of the person.
It was a proper 24 hours.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we can get it done in 24 hours. It's just... If you're not a nice person and you're talking to me from the start and you're being rude to me straight away, then I won't take you on.
He's going to put your file to the bottom?
No, I just won't take you on. I'll tell you. I'll tell you up front. I won't lie. But if you're being rude and demeaning on the first phone call, expecting something from me, I won't help you. There's other mortgage brokers who want your business, need your business. I don't need that. I'm here to help people in their lives who are nice people. And I don't need the added stress of you, to be honest. I just don't. It's something I used to do, and I won't do it ever again.
It goes for hospitality too. People don't come in and fucking dictate everything in the restaurant.
Correct.
Just be nice.
Yeah, and some
You
people
never know. You might get a little cheeky glass of wine for me just for being a nice little kitty.
I'm still waiting for one.
Mate, the amount of wine I've fucking given you.
It's a very difficult thing because sometimes people are just scared, and that's okay. I can tell that. If you're just rude, then you're not my client. You can go somewhere else, because my staff don't deserve to be treated like that. They're here to work. They're here to enjoy. Some days are more stressful than others. But if you're a rude person from the get-go, you're not my client. I do not want you. You can go somewhere else. There's other mortgage brokers in any business. You can go to them.
Do you remember that time where I advocated for my staff in the police in the restaurant, and I was going to get the police involved and everything? Did I tell you about that?
No.
I had this lady come in, and like I was like in full like staff protection mode at this point, man. I'm like, nah, there's no chance I'm letting this fucking bitch treat my staff like peasants. So, mate, this chick comes in not that long ago. It's on Google View and everything. She got like all her friends to put like a 1-star on there. Yeah, it was mad. It was mad. But you should see my reply. It's out of control.
Yeah.
And the amount of love I got from me hitting back on Google saying like, man, like I advocate for my staff and you were fucking wrong. Hence why I kicked you out of my restaurant.
Yeah.
And hey, like I don't need to kick, like kicking someone out of a restaurant is like 1 in a million.
Yeah,
Like, that
correct.
shit doesn't happen.
No.
But man, this was one of the times where I was like, you two, get the fuck out. Like, and then man, like it was all on.
What was she doing?
But oh mate, she came in and she pretty much complained about everything from to the way the door opened to how she sat down to what table she was at to the people next to her were like eating before she was, but even though they ordered different things, like there was a lot of shit that she just kept going and even to the point where we were like, okay, well, if you don't like this table, why don't we'll put you on a new table? Like, come over here. We've reset you up and everything. And the poor husband had to deal with this shit. This poor guy sitting there, watching his wife acting like a pelican. Like, no, he was bad, man.
I've been watching it his whole
It
life.
was fucking, no, it was fucking bad. Like, I'm never going to see that customer again, ever. So even to the point where there was this big commotion about sitting at this table, and we're like, all right, we've set up, the 1-cell table.
Yeah.
Right at the end, fully reset it up, made it all beautiful just to calm this fucker down. Okay? So she sits there and she goes, no, I'm not going anywhere. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, mate. Like, next fucking level. Shit.
Definitely mentally insane.
Fucking crazy.
Oh.
This poor husband had to sit there and endure that shit. Mate, at one point, he was holding her back. She was standing in the middle of the restaurant yelling at my staff in front of all the customers.
Yeah.
Going, you discriminating me. Even at one point, we're in the kitchen and like we tried to have a good time. We were laughing about something completely non-related to her. She stood up in the middle of the restaurant going, they're discriminating me. They're laughing about me. And I'm looking at her going, excuse me, what? We're allowed to chat and have a joke in the kitchen. How the fuck do you know what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Like, we laugh in the kitchen all the time.
Yeah.
Well, who the fuck are you? Mate, it was fucking messy. So, to everyone out there, there are difficult people. This is not some unicorn situation.
No.
It fucking happens.
Correct.
But the more stories we share with people and give more insight, the more people can look at themselves going, what's my behavior like?
100%. 100%.
How should I conduct myself?
And there might not
Do
be,
I need to be a dick?
Yeah. And there might not be bad people at all. Like, people are inherently good, right? People, and 99.9% of people I deal with are inherently good and we help. But you get that 0.1% of people who are rude and don't deserve, and your staff don't deserve that. And that's an important thing.
Mate, normal gets you nowhere, nice gets you everywhere.
Correct.
So
Correct.
we'll have to fucking think about that, kiddies, because that's a
wrap.
That's a good little one.
I think we've pretty much covered everything.
Covered it.
So I'm straight to the point. There's a lot of stuff in the journey.
Mine was a bit of a waffle culinary journey through around the world, and it was a bit of this fucking bullshit,
Yeah.
Yours is to the point.
All in all, we know what we wanted when we started the company. I met a business partner who's helped me throughout the way, and we will we'll get to where we want. It's just a process of time now.
Grinding.
That's all it is. It's just a process of time, structures, and consistency. You just turn up every day and you do what you need to do to get to the result that you need. That's all it is. There's no magic spell behind it. A few younger mortgage brokers reach out to me like, how do you do it? Like, oh, mate, you just got to do it. Like this is one young guy actually. I had a meeting with him and I said, mate, keep doing your TikTok, keep doing your Instagrams. They're awesome. And now he's posting like every single day. Like every single day. He's just doing it. It's going to be good. In the next couple of years, that will grow his business exponentially more than anyone ever even realizes. Because you're doing something consistent. As the mortgage broking industry is filled with a lot of older people, they will eventually leave, and then there'll be more business again. Just be wary with your mortgage broker. Make sure when you speak to them, you feel comfortable with them, and you feel like they're educated enough to help you. There are some mortgage brokers who aren't that great, like anything in any industry. But I would say just find someone you're comfortable with. Doesn't even have to be me. Find someone you trust and you're comfortable with who has your best interest at heart. And that's the most important thing.
And they must have two things. A WWE belt and a basketball hoop in their office.
Yes, I do have a WWE belt in my office and I have an Iron Man helmet.
Iron Man helmet.
With a basketball hoop.
And a basketball hoop.
And a Elder Wand from Harry Potter.
Fuck. If they don't have those four things, then I would suggest probably not to go there. Because not only he can cast spells, but he's as strong as Iron Man. He can shoot hoops like LeBron. And he can fucking smack down that shit, frog splash that shit.
No.
So
yeah, look, we love to help anyone that we can. Like I said, it is my passion to help people. That's really the only reason why I started doing this. We've helped a lot of people. Help them grow wealth as well. So yeah,
keep helping.
That's it. That's
keep
my
going
passion.
forward.
That's what I'll continue doing.
Normal gets you nowhere, peeps.
Awesome.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, that's the end of the episode.
That was really beautiful of you.
It's very different talking about yourself.
Is it?
Yeah.
How do you feel?
It's weird.
Feel a bit naked and afraid?
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit naked and afraid.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Young, Not Dumb, Not Broke. And as usual, every Sunday, 5 o'clock, we release something. Why do we do it on Sunday? We do it on Sunday because we all know that you thirsty coffee drinkers on Monday morning, sitting in the traffic, want to listen to something. And we believe that this is the best podcast to listen to.
Number one podcast in the world. Self-proclaimed.
We're coming for you, Logan.
It will be.
Come
Just
for you,
wait
Logan.
it. It's time.
Get Logan on.
Consistency, like I said.
That's it.
All right.
Thanks, mate.
Have a good week.
Let's get to work.
See you, mate. Bye-bye.
See ya.